Today on our 2010 Pontiac Vibe GT, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Curt T connector vehicle wiring harness with 4-pole flat trailer connector, part number C56035. Now this is what our wiring harness looks like when it's installed. As you can see, it's going to live inside of the vehicle. When you're ready to use it, you just string it out the back of the vehicle. Now you want to make sure you're going over top of this rubber seal here, and you're staying away from any connection points that your hatch is going to make. Now this wiring harness is designed to live inside of the vehicle, so it's not going to harm it being closed in between the door and this sill here. This is going to provide you with all the proper lighting functions for your trailer, your brake lights, your turn signals, your running lights, and your ground. You can see you have plenty of wire to attach to your trailer or anything else you may be towing. When you don't want to use it, simply roll it up and you can just store it down either inside of your tire or down next to your tire, out of the way. Now to begin our installation, we need to gain access to the hatch of our vehicle. What we're going to need to do is we're going to move this panel here, just unlock, and we'll set it aside to get reinstalled. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this bolt and this bolt. We're going to be using a 10mm socket. And you're going to repeat that on the other side of the vehicle. So now with our screw removed here, you want to make sure this is loose. And with this loose, we can actually gain access to our wiring and our light by taking off this panel. The reason we want to take these two screws out is that when we feed our wire down and underneath, we want to be able to get access to it. So now here on our driver's side, we're going to reach right up in this corner. We want to gain access to that plug right there. It's plugged into the back of the tail lights. We're going to take the yellow, brown, and red side and match up the plug, plug it into place. The other end is going to take the place of the one you just unplugged. Now what we'll do, I'm just going to take a wire. I'm going to feed it back behind there to come out right underneath this jack. I'm going to put a little bend in the wire. I'm going to hook my 4-pole and my green and white wire on it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to drop it right behind the panel here and pull it out underneath. Now you want to make sure you don't pull that all the way through just yet. We need to put in our ground and we need to mount this. Now if you see right here, there's actually a screw with a nut on it that's going into the body. That's actually going to be a good place to put our ground. So we'll take a 10mm socket, go ahead and put our ground wire with our ring terminal on, and then replace the nut. Now you want to make sure when you tighten the nut, you don't tighten it so tight that you break the ring terminal or break the wire off. We're just going to take some rubbing alcohol, and we're going to clean the area where we're going to be mounted. You want to make sure it's a good clean surface. Double sticky sided foam pad. Make sure you push it firmly into place. I'm just going to take the end that I'm going to connect to here and pull it up to it. Now I'm going to strip the end of my power wire. I'm going to take one of my included butt connectors, put it on one end, and the other end is going to go to the black wire coming off my modular box. Once we got a good connection, we'll wrap it up with some electrical tape. Now we'll just pull it through and run our green wire over to our passenger side. We're going to take out this panel here, and since we've already loosened this, we're going to do the same thing. This time we're going to go opposite. Feed the wire down, we're going to pull our connections up. Then we're going to have the same connection point as the driver's side, but over here on the passenger. Up inside here, you'll find the plug. And it's going to be located right behind the tail light, up in the top area. Next, what I'm going to do is, you can see this factory wiring that runs across the back here. I'm going to take my green wire and my black wire, and I'm going to zip tie it to that factory wiring, just so it's not hanging out like this. We don't want it to get snagged on anything. Now you can see there's a grommet right here on this back wall. We're going to take our power wire That's going to run out to our battery, and we're going to go right through that grommet. I'm just going to take a flathead or Phillips screwdriver, push it in there, make sure we're not going to hit anything. Once you know you're all the way through, go ahead and push your wire through. Once you get your wire started through and push through enough, right up behind your bumper, you'll see it come out. Now we'll just pull the rest of it through. Now before we put all of our panels back in place, we're going to take our silicone that comes in our kit, and we're just going to go over this grommet just a little bit around this black wire to make sure we don't get any moisture that comes back in. Now we can put all of our stuff back into place here. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You want to make sure when you put your panel back in that your wire is not coming over top of your lock, and then it's going to get pinched in there. So if you push it down just a little bit and lock it into place, you're good to go. So now I'm going to take my power wire. I'm going to stay away from anything that's hot or moving. There's a bracket right here holding on the back of the bumper fascia. I want to go back behind that and come on the outside here. So I'm just going to feed this back here. Now I'm going to take the rest of it and I'm going to route it up to the battery underneath the vehicle. Let me get that done real quick and I'll show you how I did it. So what I did is I took my wire and I went up above inside the heat shield here. Went over top of this brace. Put a zip tie right here on this hard line. Ran up above the tank. I put another zip tie right up here on the top to make sure my wire stays up. And you can see right here, I just pushed it over top of this hard pipe here. Ran it all the way down. Ran it up through this one. And I took a red Airline tube, made me a path up to the top, away from any heat or any moving parts. Took my power wire, pushed it in the end, and I'll go up top and I'll pull my Airline tube up and my wire will follow. We'll slowly start to pull it up. And I would recommend checking one more time underneath the vehicle to make sure you're not caught on anything before you go cut your wire to length. Now we're going to take our included fuse holder and our included ring terminal, and we're going to put it on one end of the fuse holder. On our other end, we're going to replace the included butt connector with a heat shrink butt connector, just to give it a little extra protection because it's going to be living outside the vehicle. These heat shrink butt connectors you can find here at Etrailer.com. Now we'll take our power wire and we'll cut it to length. Strip the end. We're going to take the other end of our butt connector, crimp it down. Make sure you have a good connection. We're just going to take a heat gun. We'll let that cool for just a second. Then we're going to wrap it with some electrical tape. Next, we're going to hook it up to our positive side of our battery. And you want to make sure you don't have the fusing so you don't have any backfeed from your vehicle. I'll take my electrical tape. I'll wrap the in with the ring terminal. Just give a little extra protection. Now, what we have determined is that this bolt is not going to come off. So we're going to put our positive side on this bolt. Don't want to take a chance of breaking anything in here because then the whole wire has to be replaced. We'll use a 10mm socket, put it on the ring terminal, and replace the nut. Once you have all that connected, we can put in our fuse. Once you have all your connections made, we can test it out using part number I26. Left blinker, right blinker, brakes, running lights. And that'll do it for the Curt T connector vehicle wiring harness with 4-pole flat trailer connector, part number C56035 on our 2010 Pontiac Vibe.